The Revere Religions team took to the streets of London to ask people about their gaming lives. Here's what some of them had to say in this episode's Word on the Street. We're going to be going out on the streets asking people's opinions about how much do they think is considered too much gaming, and whether gaming companies are also doing enough to help support the idea of gaming addiction, and now that it's considered a gaming disorder as well. Do you play video games?
Yeah. Like Fortnite, Call of Duty.
How many hours would you say you play?
I don't know, like 10?
10 hours a day?
Yeah.
In the past, I used to play like 5 hours straight.
How in a day?
But in a day, in a day. Now that I look at it, it's like I've seen that I could have done more things rather than just play for 5 hours straight.
I think there's maybe not such a thing as too much gaming, but maybe there's your gaming.
Is there a limit though?
I think that maybe there's a limit, but I think it's to do with how well you can then go back into how your normal everyday life is.
Yeah.
Would you call yourself a gamer?
Yeah.
I'd call her a game addict.
Yeah,
10 hours a
okay,
day.
yeah,
So do you
sure.
think that would affect your social life as well, or no?
Oh, it does, 100%.
Really?
I rarely
Yeah.
see her. She's always in her room.
Yeah.
How often would you say you game?
Quite regularly.
What games do you play?
Overwatch, Minecraft, Siege.
What would you call a game addict? How many hours would you say?
I wouldn't say hours, I'd say when it's starting to take over everything in your life.
And at the moment, I've been going through a period of gaming quite a bit.
Yeah.
Mainly just playing GTA.
Because as an adult, gaming can be different, but as a youth, like it can be quite challenging, no?
I think gaming can become a crutch. It can become a distraction from everyday life. But it's just like anything else. Just like drugs, alcohol, like anything, you sort of fall into that. And
Research shows that 91% of kids are gamers. According to Newzoo, there are now more than 2.5 billion gamers across the world. We spoke to a behavioural expert and a mental health advocate on the science behind gaming and its addiction. Here's what they had to say.
Now, this is very interesting because people may be predisposed to have almost addictive personalities. In terms of addiction itself, it may relate to, for example, insecurity.
So if you are genetically predisposed to being easily peer pressured or to be easily influenced, then you are a lot more likely to, be influenced by any external stimuli. So it could be games, it could be, pop culture, it could be anything.
Recently, gaming was classified as a disorder, mental health disorder. So what's your opinions on that?
Well, I think that's ridiculous because it's if you have an addictive personality or you're addicted to something, it's not really about what the thing is. Fair enough, you can say somebody has an alcohol addiction, but there's also a chemical side to that and to drugs as well. But it's more the addiction than what it is.
So gaming addiction as a disease is quite interesting because it's not just about someone who plays games a lot. It's actually about someone who, over at least 12 months, found that their life and the quality of life has deteriorated as a result of their engagement in gaming.
So say if you're neglecting stuff like showering or just eating or just sleeping in general.
So example would be actually they stop showering completely, they stop feeding themselves because they might have to leave the game or something like that.
If it's taken over your lifestyle, then that's when it's an addiction.
You haven't been in that position ever, have you?
I wouldn't say I have. I know when to stop. I like to push the boundaries though.
If it is considered a disease, a problem that needs to find a solution, then more research bodies, more people would look into actually finding a way to help people get better from this disease, if they're calling it a disease. So I think it's a sensible move, definitely.
Well, I have nieces and nephews, and their parents are very responsible, so they would have to do their homework and whatnot, and maybe more time on the weekends.
What's your idea of that, of these free games coming out and being so accessible like that on a game?
I think a lot of them are freemium, so they draw you in because you can just jump in and play, but then they make it hard for you to fully enjoy the game without having to purchase.
The head of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community has previously highlighted how kids are wasting money on games like Fortnite and gave guidance on how to prevent the dangers it could bring.
बाज़ बच्चे आजकल एक नई गेम शुरू हुई है फोर्टनाइट, उसमें अपनी रकमें ज़ाया करते हैं। वालिदैन को भी चाहिए उससे उनको रोकें, क्योंकि एक के बाद अगले स्टेप पे जाने के लिए फिर कार्ड लेते हैं, फिर पैसे खर्च करते हैं। ना सिर्फ उनके वक्त ज़ाया हो रहा है और गलत किस्म की सोचें पैदा हो रही हैं। बल्कि बाद वालिदैन को भी नुकसान हुआ है इस चीज़ से बचना चाहिए.
Kids even have gone and taken their parents' credit cards, debit cards, or funds, and gone and bought games or bought these editions in the games without their parents' knowledge. Not only is that then detrimental to the children's well-being in the sense that they've found it so easy to go and do these things, but it's also detrimental to the family as a whole. You know,
We got in contact with you because of the gaming story, right? About in terms of like the Fortnite and stuff like that. How many hours would you say you played?
3 to 4 hours a day.
In the Caliph's video, Hazrat Mirza Masroor Ahmad, he talked about particularly playing Fortnite and how it's affecting the youth. Can you tell us a bit about that, about when you listened to the sermon, how that changed?
After listening to the sermon, people in the Jamaat were saying that like Hazur didn't mean to completely stop playing, but he wanted us to realize that we're spending too much time playing, that it shouldn't affect our prayers and reading Quran. All my friends in the Jamaat and I, we together and stopped playing as much and tried to spend more time doing stuff together at the mosque.
So you felt as if your social life, did it change after the Caliph's sermon?
I had much more free time to do other stuff that was more important than playing games.
It was just conversation. We interviewed a gaming expert and he was talking about how gaming can influence lives and do you have limits in your gaming as well?
I tried to only play after I finished all my homework so that it's not getting in the way of anything.
You know, online purchases while playing the games, and we had restriction on that, you know, if you have to buy anything online, you're not allowed to do that. I think Hazur's khutbah came just at the right time for us because he was exactly at that age where you can cross over, I feel. Because everybody in his group stopped, it was, I think, a blessing for him because Hazur has specifically mentioned Fortnite, at least give up Fortnite.
Like Maulud's story, there are many others who changed their habits after listening to the Caliph's sermon. This was just one of the examples. The Review of Religions further asked His Holiness the head of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community about children and gaming. His Holiness said that children should be allowed a maximum of 1 hour screen time per day. His Holiness further stated, experts and psychiatrists have detailed the negative effect of excessive screen time for children. For example, the impact it has on a child's eyes and other features, which are in a stage of development. Therefore, parents should be mindful of this.
The World Health Organization itself has raised concerns about whether such games can be addictive.
The World Health Organization officially designated gaming disorder as a mental health condition. Well, how much responsibility falls on the parents?
On a day when there's no school, what's usage look like?
Ideally, an hour, 2 hours. We're constantly trying to engage them. Let's do this. Let's go here. They are so addicted to them that they don't know how to come off of them.
Make sure you like, subscribe and share and comment down below on your opinions on gaming addiction being classified as a disease.